So with that, many of you probably have heard that Reuben Hofshi passed away just about a month ago. We're sad to hear that, and I was asked to give a small tribute to him to remind all of us that major contributions he made not only to the California avocado industry but to the world. Reuben, with just a little bit of background before we get to his contributions on avocados. Reuben was born actually in Baghdad, Iraq. And when he was quite young, his family moved to what was then still Palestine, became Israel, and he grew up in Tel Aviv. His father was a textile merchant, and he had a great upbringing in Israel. And when he was in high school, he came to California. I believe it was Sierra Madre. He actually graduated from high school here in California, went back to Israel, had all kinds of adventures that we don't have time to go through, but finally ended up back in California. And he was taking the class, and he loves to tell the story how he was taking the class in Pasadena City College. And he wrote an English term paper that was on Noam Chomsky, the famous linguist. And it was so brilliant that the teachers sent it over to UCLA. And without an undergraduate degree, Reuben started a graduate school at UCLA in linguistics. He always was fascinated with linguistics, always analyzing how people spoke, and picked up languages very, very easily. Was fluent in Spanish and Hebrew, obviously, but also times when I was with him, he would start talking French to someone or Russian to someone or even Chinese through a postdoc that I had. So he was a multilingual. But after he was at UCLA, he took his young family to Ecuador. And I'll read from a biography that he wrote in 2016. He said, "I lived with my young family in the Ecuadorian jungle by the Rio Napo, a main tributary of the Amazon. There I had a dream that I would return to California and work with avocados. We came back to the States in 1975 and settled in Fallbrook." And from that point on, he began his quest to learn everything he could about avocados. And I just want to go over a few things. So one thing I think that most people will recognize about Reuben is that he had insatiable curiosity. He was always stretching the boundaries. And this picture of the avocado tree growing out of his head was actually drawn by an avocado grower who packed their avocados at Delray Avocado, because he became he participated in several business ventures from 1975 to 1987. But in 1987, he became a co-owner with Bob Lucy and Bob Seymour of Delray Avocado. But he was always looking for more information and knowledge. And he was always stretching the boundaries, participating in research projects, coming up with ideas for research projects, interacting with researchers at UC Riverside to improve their research projects, and always just stretching boundaries in order to learn more. And someone wrote to me after he passed that he said he was always harvesting ideas and motivating change. And he had no fear of interacting and asking questions with people. He collaborated very closely with his dear friend Bill Arterbury, who owned Farm ACW. Many of you remember Bill. And at Farm ACW, the two of them used to tell me it was their playground, a playground for ideas. And at ACW, they looked at beekeeping, using pollinizers, 3 pollinizers in a hole so that you could get good cross-pollination on avocados, all types of things, earthworms in the soil to improve the soil, mulching, compost operation, all these things Reuben and Bill dreamt up together. And that was really great. Another great friend of his that he really liked to visit was Nate White up in Ventura County, and he loved to meet with Nate and talk about all sorts of things beyond avocado. And he liked to interact and challenge farm advisors with different ideas. He and Gary Bender were always going at it with different ideas, and it was great to see them interact. And he would come to Riverside and make friends with researchers in my department at UC Riverside, including Fait Negum, who was Egyptian. The two of them were a little bit wary of each other initially, but they became great friends over time. He was always asking questions and challenging paradigms. And here you can see in one of some of the many trips that he took abroad, always looking, always interacting, always taking risks. As you can see, that the bottom picture is in New Zealand, where he was so excited to get into this hydro ladder, which they called, and go 10 meters up into the air to see what the top of an avocado orchard looked like. He was willing to be out there a little bit in some of his ideas. He never took himself too seriously. He was very, very willing to laugh at himself when he made a mistake, willing to change his mind if you could prove. It was very difficult to prove, but if you could prove to him that he was wrong, he would change. Some people won't do that. I think one thing that he really, really loved was these two rats, the white one, Avo, and the black and white one, Kato, that he had. And he did all kinds of avocado experiments to see how these rats could discern fruit maturity. It was very, very interesting. And he was always interested in this lower picture is down in Chile with Christian Magdal, where he was dissecting a fruit that he found that had an abnormality. He was always looking for something to learn. He had many avocado mentors and friends, and he talks about this in his biography that he wrote. Some of the mentors here are shown: Abraham Benikoff, Francisco Gardiazabal, Alejandro Barrientos from Mexico. In the middle picture, Pedro Mejeras, Mike Clegg. He thought the world of Art and Mary Schroeder. Art was definitely one of his heroes. Tony Wiley, Yuri Levy, Jose Chaparro, Jerry DeMittman, and many others listed on the bottom of this slide that I don't have pictures of. But he sought information, and with most of these people, many of these people, all of these people, he forged unbelievable professional and personal relationships in the quest for knowledge. Some people, he mentored younger researchers, and Harley Smith, that's pictured here in the middle, dubbed him the beautiful man, because he took great interest in the careers of many young scientists and encouraged them to work on avocados. And he was always traveling. As he gained more knowledge of avocados, he traveled the world, always looking at avocados, always trying to learn more information that he could bring back to his beloved industry, California, because his heart was really the California industry. And while he was traveling, he was a fruitaholic. I was able to take some trips with him, and he was always buying fruit, always eating fruit, always asking people, where can I buy meme, sapote, where can I buy mangoes, etc. And this was all part of his quest for knowledge and his quest to experience life to the fullest. One of the highlights, I think, for him, he told me professionally, he in his mind, he was always searching to be accepted by the international and the California avocado community. And to him, one of the highlights was when he was invited to be the keynote speaker at the Saga annual meeting in South Africa in 2014. And it was a wonderful time. He went out and he met growers all over South Africa. We traveled with another linguist shown in the upper slide. They became great friends. He met and we spent many days with Andre Ernst, another one of his heroes, who developed the cloning technique for avocado propagation that took it a step further from the Broca or Froelich method. So his contributions to the avocado world are really innumerable. He was a prolific writer. He wrote numerous articles and opinion pieces. Many of them are accessible on Avocado Source. And if you go and look at his name, there's 64 citations that Reuben is an author, a senior author or co-author on. But he wrote many Avocado Newsline editorials. He wrote many things on the CAC newsletter, Subtropical Fruit News. He contributed an article about avocado pollination with Art Schroeder, just to name a few. He served on the Avocado Inspection Committee. He was a CAC PRC member for many years and was the chairman for close to 10 years. And in that time, he was responsible from taking the funding for research from a very low amount, around $100,000 to $200,000, to over $1 million. And it was during those days that a lot of really fabulous research was done for the benefit of the California industry, in particular on avocado thrips, Persea mite, and many other topics. Many of you who live in San Diego County will know that he was a frequent attendee of all industry meetings, and he was known to always be asking questions. And finally, one of the great things that he was really honored with was that in 2003, he was awarded the California Avocado Society Medal of Honor. And to me, he often mentioned that to others. That was definitely, he felt finally that he had been accepted by the avocado industry. But there's three contributions that I think if Reuben was sitting here today, he was actually a very modest person, that I know that he told people he thought his three greatest contributions to the avocado world were. The first one was the Hofshi coring machine. And if you work for the Avocado Inspection Service and ask anybody, this machine revolutionized how we do dry weights in California. And this was developed, it was an idea he had when we were doing the Lambhouse Maturity Project. He pursued it with a retired construction worker, Billy, at Farm ACW, and they went through many iterations, and finally this was it. Donella Borman was in charge of the Avocado Inspection Committee service at that time, and she and him championed the idea of having this accepted into the as an approved method for determining avocado dry weight. So this actually greatly has reduced the time load of preparing samples to do a minimum maturity. Another thing that he was very proud of that started in 1999 was avocado brainstorming. So he was traveling around the world, meeting people, but he had angst over the fact that there was no information sharing between people. And so he started in 1999, avocado brainstorming. It continues today. And the primary focus of this meeting was to share knowledge, with the idea that by sharing knowledge, we're going to improve productivity, not only here in California, but around the world. And so these are the goals that he actually laid out for avocado brainstorming: to build research networks, encourage collaboration, encourage the development of young scientists to go into the academia to work on avocados, and more than anything else, to discuss and share ideas that can be applied in the field. And so there's been several avocado brainstorming meetings. I'll just flip one in Riverside, another one in Ventura. In 2007, we went international, and we had the first international meeting in Chile that was co-organized with his very good friend Jorge Schmidt, one in New Zealand, another one in Peru, which was the last one he attended due to health reasons. And then we followed up in going back to South Africa. And most recently, we had one in 2023 in Australia. And I can tell you the people have written to me when they heard the loss of Reuben about how important avocado brainstorming is to them into their professional development and becoming avocado researchers. But probably the ultimate contribution and thing that he was most proud of was in 2001, he established avocadosource.com. And I don't know, and avocadosource.com is part of this meeting, and it's dedicated to bring avocado knowledge to the international avocado community. It will continue to be overseen by his Hofshi Foundation. And so it contains historical information, all the California Avocado Society yearbooks, as well as the Saga yearbooks, and much, much more. And many, many useful tools for growers. And I can say it is used around the world. Wherever I have gone, people talk about using the different tools on avocadosource.com. So in conclusion, I'll end there. Thank you for your attention. I'll just ask, have you hugged your avocado tree today? Thank you very much.